Hello everyone and welcome to the first day of our qualifier event for the second GCD tournament, which is going to be taking place just the qualifiers today, so not too many series, and then we're going to be running into the main tournament tomorrow. I hope everyone's doing well, and of course one of the main things to do of course is introduce our second caster for today, who's going to be Zunyaki, assuming you're here. How are you doing today, my good man? Have I unmuted it correctly? This is the awkward moment where we see... Can you hear me, Zuni?
Yep. Hey, what's up?
There we go. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. We've got some... we've got, like I said, a pretty short day today. We are expecting 2, possibly 3 series. Since we didn't have such a big qualifier event for today, we can start to look over at that bracket right about now. So as you can see, quite a small bracket. We have Snake Eyes there, and also Legion Submarine and TSG PogChamp. So the 3 teams, and then also we should be able to get into a 4th series, which will be with Kavi's team as well, battling it out. Of course, we're going back to last year's format of doing the battle for the 7th seed, so just the 1 series for the 7th seeded team to see if they can kind of claim their spot, add a little bit of competitivity. So in that regard, it should be 3 series. We're just waiting right now on 1 team in particular to get their final member online so that we can get started into these games. And then, of course, if we have a little look over at the main bracket tomorrow, this is the bracket we're all waiting for. All these teams want to be competing in. And then we're going to have our big 8 teams here. So teams such as ABC, of course, Northern Gaming, so Mimpoike and Waz. And I think they're playing with Maro tomorrow as well. And we also have Jamie and Swapsy's team, some very big names in that bracket tomorrow. Have you had a chance to look over tomorrow's bracket and kind of like digest?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's gonna be a fun tournament because the patch just recently hit, right? So there's always that kind of mystery about what is the best comp. It's really hard to tell after a patch hit. We're Friday today, patch hit on Wednesday on EU. So it's been 2 days where people have been like trying all sorts of different comps and different new specs. For example, rogues don't play assassination as much anymore. They will play sub. So that kind of changed the whole meta and allowed other classes and specs to shine more than ever before. So that kind of new meta is really interesting when there's a tournament a few days after, because people aren't really sure what to expect or what is as good as as what they could possibly play. So that it always leaves a bit of an interesting play style.
Yeah, for sure. And like that was one of the things as well, right? So we saw our meta last tournament. We had a Spirit Link Shaman, Destruction Warlock with the kind of empowered Immolate on the Conflag spec. And then we also saw this powerful Rogue Mage Druid running mainly Assassination. So a lot of that stuff since last month has changed now. We won't see so many Assassination Rogues. They got a lot of nerfs recently. Also, the Destruction spec and the Spirit Link Shaman also got nerfed quite dramatically in the last month as well. So we're expecting a completely different meta for tomorrow for sure, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, a lot of the healing specs have been readjusted, I would say. You mentioned, the Spirit Link Totem from Shamans, the Abundant spec from Resto Druids. All of that kind of, changed a lot to the gameplay on most arena teams. And most teams played, with the Resto Druids last patch. And now that this has been toned down, it really opened up a lot of new different comps, as we were saying previously. So I'm excited to see what these teams have prepared for us in the next few days, and what comps they're going to be bringing out. And it's going to be interesting to see once again what comps is just going to be really strong for this patch.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we'll have a little look now. We've had a look through the brackets. As we said, we're just waiting for this one team to be completely ready, and then we should be able to get into our first series of the day. I do want to give a quick shout out to the new website we've been using today for our crowdfunding as well. So let's get into OBS and do this. So here, this is the new website we'll be using today. It's Maturino, and as you can see, we have our donation goal for the prize pool, and everything is all set up on this site. You can find a link by typing !Maturino into the Twitch chat. And one of the cool things about our partnership with these guys is that when we press the donate button here, we can type in the code GCDTV1, like this is code, and then you just donate it, and then without any charge to you, they're going to supply $1 towards this prize pool, as we can see many people have been doing down here. So we're very appreciative to people who go there. And then, of course, when you do go to this website as well, you'll see there's several rewards on offer, coaching with various players, pro players that you've seen in previous GCD tournaments. And also there's this interesting reward here, which is a raffle we're going to do at the end of the weekend. So how this works is you generate a point every single time every minute that you're in the stream. So the longer you're in the stream, the more points you're going to generate. And every time you're in the stream for 30 minutes, you'll generate 30 points, and then you can purchase one of these one of these tickets to the raffle. You can purchase as many as you earn. And then at the end of the stream, there's going to be a giveaway with 3 of these mounts, the codes in-game, so you can pick up one of those just for watching the stream, which is pretty awesome of Matcherino. So definitely something worth checking out. Lots of cool stuff on their website as well. Of course, we want to give a shout out to everyone who's watching, because we appreciate you guys. The people who come in early to the stream are the ones who are, I'm sure majority of you are here very often, and we're looking forward to giving you some great games. So we're just waiting right now. We'll go back to the brackets and see that the teams, we're just waiting on TSG PogChamp to have their final member. Unfortunately, he's stuck in traffic right now. And if he can get here, then we'll play that series. If not, we'll have to forfeit them, unfortunately, and we'll go forward to Legion Submarine versus Snake Eyes. So what do you think of the kind of 3 or 4 teams in this qualifier bracket, Zenny?
Once again, there's some. That's the good thing about these tournaments, that you can, you'll bring up some more or less known people, and so we don't know. I don't know all of them in this in this qualification tournament. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they can bring out. What comps they decide to pick out, which different specs they're gonna play, and how they're gonna perform in general. So that's gonna be always cool to watch. And so as you said, the first matchup should be technically Legend Submarine against TSG PogChamp, as long as they can make it. Obviously TSG playing the TSG, and I'm actually not quite sure what Legion Submarine plays, but I can check that out real quick, and then maybe we can have a better view. Oh, actually I know some of them. Actually, I just looked at the names, and they may not be familiar to you, but I know some of them. I've seen. I mean, the name might sound a bit familiar. They have Takes, I think, who's the healer. Viri Vadili, who has a very complicated name.
Yes,
I think he plays Feral, and then Fen is the DK. So that sounds like what is called the Ebola comp. So Feral DK potentially, unless they have some alts. So Feral DK, a combat I haven't seen too much, to be honest. That could potentially be strong. Let's see if they can match up with TSG. Hopefully the TSG can make it, as you said. TSG has been actually very, very powerful in this particular meta, more than ever before. We haven't really seen Warriors in general too much. People played a bit of Fury. It was really, it was strong for its burst potential. Now Arms has kind of made a comeback with the recent buffs, and on top of that, the nerfs to other classes. So it's gonna be cool to see, like, classes that you barely saw before. This example, the Arms Warrior. But I'm sure there will be many other classes in the next few days too. So it's gonna be cool to see how strong TSG can be now after the change. Like I said, it seems like it has been pretty strong in the last few days, after the patch hits. And so we'll see what these guys can bring.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, I think we just got confirmation that the TSG team isn't going to be able to make it in time due to this car trouble, which is a shame because, like you say, I really want to see Warriors. Like, we haven't seen Warriors at all, really, this expansion. They were very strong in the early days of beta, if I remember right, but then they kind of fell off. We saw Joe at Regionals was still playing it, but it wasn't necessarily the strongest. And this is the first real time where we've even seen some Fury Warriors being picked up in the recent weeks, and Arms Warriors, of course, got little buffs in the last patch or the last hotfixes. So would have been interesting to see. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to see that series, so Legion Submarine will move on, and now we're going to have our first series of the day will be Snake Eyes versus Legion Submarine. So Snake Eyes, of course, were the number 1 seed in this qualifier, the number 8 seed in total of the tournament, so they're definitely going to be looking in as one of the stronger teams coming into today. And it's going to be interesting to see how they pair up against what we imagine is going to be this Feral DK composition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, unfortunately, no war for today, but I'm sure there'll be other people playing the war in the next few days. So if you want to check that out, make sure you tune in either tomorrow or on Sunday. But yeah, for now, it's going to be Snake Eyes against Legion Submarine, and I'm not quite sure what the official comp of Snake Eyes is. Like we said, if they have some alts, it's kind of hard to predict sometimes. Anything could pop out. So we'll have to see what they decide to play. But I feel like it's going to be pretty cleavy. I feel like
Yes.
it's going to be definitely some kind of cleave involved from both teams. I think that's what they're most known for. So we'll have to see what specialization each of these teams decide to pick, and who will come out on top.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing, like maybe these guys aren't all the most known players. We know some of them, but we don't necessarily know, like we don't watch them in tournaments so often, so we're not going to see like all their different ults, what they prepare for each other. Because these teams, like the great thing about the qualifier event is that it gives these teams an opportunity, especially when it's a smaller event like this, they can just jump straight into that main bracket, and of course that's really where you want to be. It's the double elimination. You're going to have BlizzCon champions, BlizzCon competitors basically in every single team. It's such a fantastically strong event, so just getting yourself into that mix of players is such a fantastic thing. And we've seen so many times as well that like players will start playing in these little GCD tournaments. People won't have necessarily heard their name before, and then they keep playing, they get better and better, they have more success playing with different partners, etc. And then they do manage to climb into that kind of higher tier of playing at the LAN events, playing at regionals, playing at BlizzCon. So it's awesome to see how this stuff works out. And yeah, I really hope that we can get some great games for today as well, before going into that main bracket, of course, tomorrow.
Yeah, main bracket once again that you talked about a bit before should be pretty exciting to watch. Can't wait for that. There's going to be a total of what's it? Should be 8 teams in total, right? That are qualified after today.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So 8 teams that will be battling to tomorrow. So if you guys want to check out some of the new comps, I would say, that are really popular after this new, it's not even a patch. I said patch earlier, but it's more of a hotfix. So there's no real patch that has been coming out. It's just been a hotfix in PvP that basically just nerfed and buffed some classes, and that will basically changed a lot of classes, in depth, and opened up new specialization, new comps. So if you guys want to check out what's strong and what's just what's good in general, make sure you check us out in the next few days, and I'm sure we'll have a good variety. I can't pronounce that ever. Good variety of comps showing up.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the other great thing about watching these tournaments when they are on the new patch day, is that you really see the best, the quickest adapting players come out on top. And when you have people like Swapsy in the event tomorrow, they're the type of people that you associate with this kind of ability to play multiple classes, to play them to the very highest level, very confident on basically anything that's put in front of him. So any meta, they'll be figuring it out immediately. And even during the series, of course, there's best of 5 series, and we saw the final last month was a best of 7 series, so that you could see the teams kind of swapping up their strategies, swapping up their, even their compositions at points to see, because they're not entirely sure either. Like a lot of these teams won't have met each other yet on the ladder, whereas in a more kind of stable meta, maybe they would have met each other maybe 20 times or something. So definitely very exciting to see how this is. We're just waiting on the comp lock-in from Snake Eyes, I do believe, and then we should be ready to get into this. Of course, just to run over the format that we have for this tournament, it is going to be a blind pick on Night Grand Arena. So that first game is very important, because neither team really knows what the other one is necessarily going to be playing. Even with the 3-man roster, a lot of people have a lot of alt compositions available to them, so they're going to have to make sure that they can kind of choose a best comp, because if you lose that blind pick, then every other game after that, the winner gets the comp disadvantage, so they have to lock in their comp first, and the loser also gets the map pick. So if you do win that first game, then you're basically going to have to win one game as that kind of winner disadvantage to take the series. It is going to be best of fives for every single game, and of course it is a single elimination, although we don't have too many series today to worry about, so it shouldn't be a big problem in that regard. We're just waiting one more second on this team to get into the game. We really... I just want to get into the games, I just want to play. It's this is the most painful part of a tournament, is like when you're waiting for that first game, when you're waiting for the first team.
One of the main differences from, let's say, the regionals or BlizzCon is that we don't have to. There's only three teams. There's only three members on each team. It kind of just changed a bit of the whole blind pick. It just made it more predictable, I would say. It all made it way more predictable. So there's not going to be like this four kind of rotation player that you're going to mix in and put into blind pick. So it's a bit easier for teams to predict what they're going to play, and the I would say the mind game might not come less into play also. So it should be interesting to see if people just go out for their main comps, which I think they will in general. I feel like most teams will probably play their main comps whatever they're most comfortable with. And yeah, it's still gonna be interesting to see if others actually gonna try and still maybe play some other type of blind picks just to throw off the other team. As we said, that the game or the new meta has just recently shifted a bit, so it's hard to predict what's the best yet. So people will also have a harder time to know what they should maybe run. So there's gonna be this whole kind of blind pickness on top of the already blind pick.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually something really cool. Like I thought of your team when you were at BlizzCon as well, because you guys basically, you always had like the experience to win that mind game. Like you even brought out, I think, DK Rogue against one team, for example, just to kind of win that blind pick at the start. It's something that people wouldn't really associate with your squad necessarily, but then you brought it out and you just win the game. And like, do you think its experience makes a big kind of contributing factor to being able to win that blind pick?
Well, I would say probably. I think if experience always gives you a slight edge. The only thing in this particular patch is that it was very. Legion just came out, right? For BlizzCon and also regionals. So it was everything just came. It was just really different, and you couldn't really expect too much from the other teams, right? So it was a bit more tricky to blind pick and such. But yeah, to answer your question, I still think it can give you a slight edge.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it was just really cool to see like all the teams. Like majority of the time, it seemed like you did go for the kind of like normal composition, but there we go. But it didn't, like, you changed up. You just changed up for that first game to make sure that you had the advantage in the first one. So it's
yeah.
Yes,
sometimes it was good. Sometimes it was maybe not as good. There's always a bit of luck involved in these blind picks, especially as I was saying when there's four players. But it's the most important thing is that you just stick with it and just try to be as confident as possible. When you pick your blind picks, and then as long as you don't get really countered, it should be fine. And then, but yeah, it's always an interesting, especially as we were saying with four players. It was always like very nerve-wracking to know what the other team's going to play, what you're going to play. Sometimes we actually didn't know until, I would say, a few minutes before the actual game what we were going to turn in. We're like, okay, what should we play? Should we play this? Should we play that? And it was kind of like, it just really added another layer of, I don't want to say stress, but, it definitely added something else on top of the actual game that we had to play. And so it was really nerve-wracking sometimes.
Yep, for sure. And we can see, finally, we have our teams loaded into the game. So it's actually going to be the DK Windwalker coming out of Snake Eyes. And and that's of course going to be going up against the Feral Druid DK Holy Paladin, which we did expect from Legion Submarine. So what do you think of this matchup? Who do you think may have the advantage here?
So it's kind of interesting. So both teams are playing Holy Pallies, so it's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be the game won't be going too fast because, as I said, Holy Palace have two bops, they have two freedoms, two sacks. But then again, you have DK on both sides, both playing on Holy. So the only real difference is the Feral versus the Windwalker. One team has a Mortal Strike effect, of course, the Windwalker. The Feral has a bit more cleave pressure, and he has Thorns. Thorns could actually play a huge factor, so definitely look out for that. Thorns is just really strong against double melee.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely the Thorns on the Feral, which is it also cleaves, right? So it's like it's on multiple members of his team, so it's going to be really
Yeah,
difficult to
absolutely.
deal with that. For sure, right. So we're going to get into the game now. We can see like the offensive team actually is going to be Legion Submarine. They're pushing in right on the enemy pillar already. Fen taking a fair bit of damage there. It looks like they want to go onto Brunkix, so they're actually going to pop the stun onto him right now. He has to bop out of that immediately. Still getting kicked by the DK though. Of course, that kick does go through the Blessing of Protection. So Brunkix, he's not able to top himself off. He could be in a little bit of trouble, of course, with that Forbrance for 30 seconds now.
Yeah, he decided not to use his wings yet, and he's still dropping. There you go. He's popping the wings now. There's the incarnation from Vivaldi. He might just go down. He's getting a bop, human trinket. He's gonna blind. I think it's gonna be enough. I'm not sure. 12% HP. I think he may just go down here. Triple DR stun, and down goes. Down. I was gonna say takes, but that was Brunsix on the other team, and wow, he decided to bop. I think his bop choice was good. He was never able to get away though. He literally did not get a single hardcast heal. After he popped his wings, I think. Like, Vivaldi did a good job just shutting him down. Three stuns in a row, especially on his human trinket, and Brunsix could just not get a single heal off. He actually casted the blind, wasn't enough. Vivaldi still on top of him, was at 400k ferocious bite, just finishing him off.
Yeah, that's insane. And just looking at the damage as well, Fen was able to do double the damage of anyone else on the map. That is an insane number. I wonder, was Brunkix using the melee wings there? Because he somehow managed to do 500,000 damage as well. So maybe he was hoping that would be enough. I didn't see if he was running that specialization, but if so, I wonder if that's a little bit weird from him.
Brunsix was not playing the melee wings, as far as I've seen. I don't think he did.
Or
I don't think that would
it's
be
just the damage from the blinding light actually to the pets.
absolutely. That's probably what it is. Blinding light. Yeah, they did indeed do 71k on a single target. So multiply it by the amount of pets and targets. That could be possible.
Yeah. Well, anyways, an awesome amount of damage coming out of Legion Submarine. In Game 1, they were able to take down Brunsix. Do you think there's anything really they could have done differently in this game to...
I think... I mean, he couldn't... The main issue there is his bubble was not back. He decided to bop early. I think it's fine to bop early. He maybe should have popped the wings a bit earlier. What happened was... Brunsix did bop himself on the cooldowns from the DK, so, Taco Fiesta, Fen, that's the opposing DK, he popped all his cooldowns, so Apocalypse, Soul Reaper, Gargoyle, so he decided to bop, and then Brunsix decided to kind of hold his wings for a bit. He thought he was fine, but he never really topped himself back up, and then the Incarn came, the stun DRs was off, and even though Brunsix trinketed, it just wasn't enough. Like you said, he popped his Divine Favor, got stunned on it, trinketed, got re-stunned on it, and just couldn't get a single heal off. I feel like if he was able to get that heal off, he might have survived. He just wasn't able to, so you have to be really careful when you bop now because there's that 30-second gap before you can bubble again, and that's basically what kind of cost him the game. So maybe popping the wings a bit earlier on could have saved him.
Yeah, for sure. So it was also the kick as well, right? So he used his Blessing of Protection really early in the game, which we think is fair enough decision because he wants to try hold on for that bubble red after the wings. But then Fen was able to land his DK kick, the Mind Freeze, through the Blessing of Protection since of course it is a spell rather than a physical kick. And then that really put him so far behind. He came out of the bop on like 50%, and even though he did pop those cooldowns kind of late, he just wasn't able to keep himself up. So we'll have to see if he can adapt a little bit in this matchup, if Legion Submarine are going to keep with this offensive playstyle that served them so well in Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Brunsix spamming the Holy Lights for the damage reduction for now as both teams engage in.
Yep, they're just going to be running right into the middle of the map, and Brunnix, he stayed in the sewer at the start, so that was an intelligent decision from him. It means he's able to kite away. He's using the freedom already to just try to get away from Fenix right now, who is taking a fair bit of damage. They do manage to connect to him now, get that stun. That's going to force the Blessing of Protection out of Brunsix. He's just trying to kite away right now. He doesn't have that freedom available, though he would use it in the start, but at the same time, Legion Submarine are starting to rot already in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of cooldowns coming up. Bopped on Vivaldi, the Feral Druid. Blind onto Takes, but it looks like both teams are going for each other's Paladins. A bit more cleave pressure, though, from the Windwalker team. Everybody on Takes team is dropping. The wings are popped, though. Deer Hodge onto Vivaldi. That's going to be a bit overlap. And Takes team is really under pressure. Brunswick's doing a good job this game. He has the 3 stacks of Holy Light. Not taking much damage. Horses away, and Vivaldi has to get sacked and takes us to bubble so early on.
Yeah, and Fen is struggling to reach anyone right now. He's just got this Windwalker tunneling him the entire game. He can't really connect to anyone. He does have the Thorns right now from Vivaldi, so that's going to be a lot of damage kind of reflected back onto Snake Eyes. But at the same time, they're not able to connect to the Paladin, who still has his bubble available. He used the Hand of Sacrifice there just to get a little bit of off-healing. We see a nice Blinding Light. They're really trying to connect to him. They do now get the stun, but I feel like they're so far behind. Takes has nothing left, and his whole team is dying.
Yeah, and that's one of the weaknesses of Feral Druids, that they really take a lot of damage, and when they're out of these walls, they just take so much damage, and Takes is having such a hard time to top him off. But let's see if they can have some counter pressure. Now we see a second bop used by Brunsix now. That's his last bop. He used it on Taco Fiesta to remove all these bleeds. Now the pressure's on to Brunsix right now. Let's see, he has to pop his Divine Wall. He probably has to bubble right here. He's in a full Hodge. The bubble almost stolen off by Fen. Good try by Fen here. Try to actually steal the bubble from Brunsix, and now both teams are kind of equal on cooldowns. They really have nothing left, so it's going to come down to the amount of pressure each team can put out.
Yeah, for sure. You still get the feeling the Snake Eyes are slightly ahead, but Legion Submarine haven't had to use defensive cooldowns for quite a while. We now see they're getting some damage over onto that Feral Druid. That's going to force out the final Hand of Sacrifice from Takes. So really nothing left for Legion Submarine, but at the same time, Brunsix doesn't have the bubble. We can see the Feral is chasing after him. They just need to get Fen to connect. He's running over now with the freedom. He gets gripped away. Beautiful blade by Taco Fiesta. He's trying to reconnect to this Paladin, because if he can, they can get the win. But at the same time, Takes caught up into the stun. Touch of Death does connect. He's trying to kite away desperately at 40%. The wings comes back up from Brunsix. Is it going to be enough, though? We can't see if he's going to survive right now. Down to about 60%. Takes also dying. He gets given the Thorns by Vivaldi. That's going to reflect some of the damage, but is it going to be enough? The Blessing of Protection has to come out, and he will survive for now, surely.
Yeah, that Bob basically just saved him. Look, his wings actually just came out. He might be able to top his team once again. Brunsix uses wings. They're fading off now. So after the wings are gone, usually it's going to become much harder to, basically save your team or like heal your team in general. Now wings are fading from Brunsix, Marvis into a stun. Looks like both teams don't really know what to hit. They're kind of just trying to hit what they can. Right now it looks like the main target was the Holy Paladins in the start, and now it's shifting towards the either the DK or the Feral from both teams. So we'll see how that ends up. We see an incap onto Takes right now. Pressure seems to be on the Feral Druid. On the other side seems to be on Marvis, the Windwalker, who still has Karma. He's going to be popping in now. Should we find big pressure to Vivaldi, who does get sacked by Takes? A good job. Should be keeping up in the game for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I really think that Taco Fiesta has been doing such a great job of peeling Fen in this game, because you can see the entire game, he's basically running after this Holy Paladin. You can see him right in the middle of the map right now. He's just hitting no one. He really wants to connect, but he's always slowed by the Chains of Ice, really struggling to connect to his target. But if he can get to Brunsix here, this will surely be the game. He's caught up in the DR stun. He has no wings, no bubble available. He's able to get the horse. He gets gripped back, though. Not really able to kite right now. There is the freedom. Is he going to be able to get away? He's down to 20%. He could just go down here, down to 5%. Surely he's going to fall. He does fall, and Snake Eyes are going to go 2-0 down in this series to Legion Submarine, who are just looking so strong. Even in this long drawn out game, Takes able to keep them alive so successfully, and it doesn't look like there's going to be too much chance. Yep, Snake Eyes are going to leave this one. So that's 2-0 on this map choice from Snake Eyes. Really dominating performance coming out of Legion Submarine in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at the Thorns down. It's just doing so much work. Once again, something we talked about is like the Thorns actually is just so good offensively and both defensively. It kind of keeps them, keeps 2 melees away from hitting that main target unless they want to sacrifice that HP for. But yeah, it was a much better game though from Snake Eyes, who was able to survive for a good 5 minutes. As soon as that second Incarn came off and there was no more boss available, that's really what was the turning point, I think, for that team. Incarn is just so powerful, and then as soon as they came back, they just they just basically crushed Snake Eyes. And then at the end, Brunsix did a way better job, surviving this game. He was totally out of cooldown. And also on a map like this, it's really hard to get away from two melees. So, like I said, he did a good job trying to get away and rotating his CDs over the games. But it is really rough on a small map like this when you have Feral chasing you and a DK on top of that.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely that was one of the themes in this game, was just the insane damage coming out of Legion Submarine. And even though they were getting peeled quite a lot, Fen still managed to out-damage Taco Fiesta, even though it looked like every single time we looked over him in this game, it looked like he was just kind of running at thin air. He wasn't really able to hit anything, but I guess when he did have uptime, he was pretty devastating in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it was actually a pretty long game for such a small map. I would say like I would have thought that the game would have lasted a bit shorter, considering that both teams can kind of get to each other. But once again, Vera Valley was getting punished very hard, and that's, as I was saying mid game, that's like one of the things with Feral is that they do insane amount of pressure. But if you go on a Feral, usually they're really squishy, like, right? They're just really, really squishy. So you can kind of make them back off like that for a long time, and then it's up to the Feral to survive a lot of the times by shaping and just trying to get distance sometimes. And but nonetheless, they managed to pull it through, and they're going to be taking 2-0 over Snake Eyes. And so I'm assuming that's Snake Eyes' last chance to now kind of have a chance to make it for this weekend's tournament.
Yeah, for sure. They really need to win this next one, because if they do not manage to do so, then that is going to be it for them. As we saw in the brackets, they are 2-0 down, so they need to win this next game. We're going to go after this into the 7th place game, most likely. We're just waiting for the final compositions. It looks like the map choice is Tiger's Peak, so they're going for a slightly bigger map in this game. What do you think of this choice from them?
I'm not sure how much the actual maps change for both these comps. It's hard to say, right? Especially when it's very clean comps. I don't think it matters too much. I'm trying to think of some things that could alter, give an advantage to each team, but I don't think it matters too much. That's why they kind of pick like these, more or less balanced map. It's kind of, I don't think it will actually affect too much for both teams. The main thing we saw is that Snake Eyes tries to go, or sorry, Legion Submarine tries to go a lot for the opposing healer, as the other team kind of tries to go for the DPS more to peel them. I feel like they kind of have to, as you said. Windwalkers are extremely strong on opposing melee classes, because they can double fist, they can double leg sweep, so they can kind of peel a lot while doing a lot of damage. So that's kind of what they've been shifting for. So we'll see if they opt for that strategy once again.
Yep, we'll have to see what they do go with. Of course, Snake Eyes are one game away from losing this series here. Brunkix, he's just going to sit out at the back. He knows he's the main target of choice. Look how far back he's sitting. It's going to take Fen such a long time to connect. He's getting slowed up in the middle of the map. They use the freedom on him. I'm not sure. He doesn't look like he's actually going to run for Brunkix right now, though. So they're just getting a bit of damage out onto the Windwalker. They get the stuns over. He needs to be a bit careful here. This is a lot of damage coming out. Touch of Karma will be used onto Viraldi, and they're not choosing to bob that. So they're not going too offensive onto him. Fen looks like he wants to reconnect over onto Brunsix. That's going to be his target of choice if he can just get there. But he's doing a great job of LOSing and being slowed. Really struggling for Fen right now.
Yeah, interesting enough, Legion Submarine tried to open on Marvis and forces Karma, and not going for the Holy Paladin. It looks like their target is going to be Marvis. Nice bop. We also saw the touch of Death getting bopped off from takes onto Vivaldi earlier on. Here's the blind onto Fen. Pressure seems to be on the Feral Druid and the Windwalker. Now they're shifting onto Brunsix, who's popping the freedoms, getting away, but Vivaldi dropping really low, has to get sacked. Wings pop by takes, should be fine for now.
Yeah, they're really putting a lot of damage into this Feral Druid this game. They did start to hint at it a little bit last game, but I feel like they had a little bit more overall cleave pressure. But so far, they've already forced a bop, already forced a sack onto this Feral. They're just tunneling him down. He does take a lot of damage, but at the same time, Brunsix is getting connected to. Fen has finally reached his target. Are they going to force the bubble with this? They will. So an excellent swap over by Legion Submarine, seeing that opportunity. And now there's no bubble on Brunsix. There's no touch of Karma temporarily on Marvis as well. So they have some options available for them on Legion Submarine.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it's sure that Takes is playing melee wings. I'm not sure if it's a bug on the UI. It looks like he might have melee wing, but that could be a bug. It looks like the pressure is still onto Vivaldi. The Feral Druid is doing a good job kiting right now. Thorns is up. A lot of damage is going to be coming on these melee targets if they do decide to hit him. And for now, Takes is doing a good job at keeping Vivaldi up. Still has a sack available as well as a bop. Looks like they're in a pretty good spot. Full Hodge onto Brunsix. Pressure is on onto him. Full bleeds, full dots. What is he going to be able to do? The wall is going to be fading now. He still has the bop available, I think. He's going to have to go through some kicks right now to be able to survive. And we see the second bop onto Vivaldi used. And Takes is slowly running out of cooldowns.
Yeah, he is, but at the same time, Brunsix is in a lot of trouble right now. That was the artifact pot from Fen, and he gets the death grip onto him. He's able to cast the Aura Mastery heal, though should be fine for now. Able to kite again behind that pillar, and now we do look at Legion Submarine because Takes, like you say, he is really struggling on those cooldowns. No wings available for about 30 seconds, and Virodaldi, he's having to kite away. He's having to play super defensively right now. He's going to have that Thorns available shortly, so that's going to help mitigate a lot of this incoming damage, whilst also reflecting a fair bit of it back onto Snake Eyes. But we could just see it's a 1v1 going on in the corner here. Fen versus Brunsix, and every single time this 1v1 has happened so far in this series, Fen has come out on top, so we'll have to see if Snake Eyes can change that for this particular game.
Yeah, another sack from Takes onto Vivaldi. They're actually taking a lot of damage. Wing should be coming up very shortly. Vivaldi's just afraid. He doesn't have that trinket. He has Incarn in 30 seconds. I think that's what he's kind of aiming for right now. He's playing it more safe, waiting for the Incarn to come back off. There we saw the wings just being popped by Takes. Should be able to top his team back off. I'm not sure if mana's going to be an issue, but both Paladins are slowly losing a lot of it. And pressure is onto Marvis again, who's going to get sacrificed from Brunsix. Should be fine. He has the touch of Karma back, so I'm actually surprised why they're not going for Brunsix like they did the other games. Maybe trying to play it a bit more slow and a bit more safe as that Incarn comes back.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually kind of odd because before the problem was that Fen was struggling to connect, but as we can see, Vivaldi get caught up into the stun. Another Hand of Sacrifice, the last one available for Takes. He is dropping still so low. There is the Incarnation, though. They're going to have to see if they can turn it around. He is the player to watch right now. The Feral Druid on Legion Submarine. He's chasing after Brunsix. They really want to get this kill. Does he have a bop available? He does. He manages to get the bop, but he's almost out of mana as well. This game has been lasting so long for a cleave. Both these Paladins doing such a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. His wings are going to be fading too, and the Incarn still lasting for a few more seconds. Vivaldi needs to put that pressure on. His string is coming back soon, so he may decide to play offensive here. Artifact from Takes should top his team back off. Vivaldi just trying to get his bleeds back up slowly. He's taking so much pressure, and I think he's a bit afraid of pushing in. That Windwalker is just very, very scary, but Brunswick has no more CDs. He has no bobs, no bubble. If they could connect to Brunswick somehow, he could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for sure. He's really out of coins, and both these Paladins are running incredibly low on their mana pool as well. But it's just the Feral taking so much damage on Legion Submarine. They don't have any sacrifices left. He's just kiting away desperately, leaps over to his healer. Nice play coming out from him. Takes now caught up into the Hodge. He's not able to land any heals, but this Feral's basically healing himself. If that Windwalker can connect with a stun, though, you do really get the feeling that Virodaldi could go down in the next stun. He's kiting away in bear form, gets the freedom. Nice plays again, but they get the stun. Double stun onto the DPS of Legion Submarine. He's able to trinket that, uses the last survival instincts to survive. Touch of Death does come out though, and it should tick after the wall expires. So there's going to be a lot of damage onto Virodaldi. Is he going to be able to survive this one?
Yeah, I'm not sure if thankfully the wings and the sacrifice is going to come back from Takes. Should be able to once again heal his team back up. Mara's taking a lot of pressure. May have to Karma. He actually didn't Karma. I'm not sure if he was stunned. I don't think so. He was using a few GCDs before the death. He may not have seen his HP drop, and that's one of the scary things with Feral Druid is that the 25% HP reduction can come up very suddenly and finish you off, and that's what may have happened. Marvis did have his Touch of Karma available, was not able to use it, and that's going to cause him the last game, and Legion Submarine wiping 3-0 on top of Snake Eyes.
Yeah, what a weird end to that game, because that game lasted a good 6 minutes. It seemed like both teams were kind of like, I don't want to say that the game had slowed down, because of course it's still cleave, but both Paladins were doing such a great job, and then they still had the Karma available, with Marvis maybe getting caught up into that little GR stun or something, but ultimately that's the thing about this matchup. Like, when you do have two cleaves, you have a Feral, you have a Windwalker, these classes take a lot of damage, and especially with that debuff from the Ferocious Bite, like you were saying, from the Feral Druid, just reducing everyone's health pool, it does mean that you can just kind of get one shot a little bit like that. That was a lot of damage coming out, but such an such a weird game, honestly, compared to the other two. Like, this was the complete opposite.
It
They
definitely felt like the other team was, yeah, as you said, adjusting a bit more,
mm,
putting more pressure on the Furl, not letting him do whatever he wants, not letting him get to the Holy Pally, which was Brunswick's, which was, kind of what caused him to die almost every game where, use all his CDs. He was just getting open on, and looks like the Windwalker and the DK were doing a much better job at gripping the Furl away, stunning him every time he was pushing in, and just not making him play. And but Vivaldi was playing it smart, was backing off when he needed to, and then when he had the pressure, they would go back in and force these CDs, and that made him win the series 3-0. So they're going to be moving on to. Do we have another series in this qualification?
yeah, so this now that they've won that, they get automatic qualification to tomorrow's event. So congratulations to Legion Submarine. They were looking very strong and
All right.
did a great job, and they will be going in as the number 8 seed. But now we have one more series to decide the final spot in the tournament, which is of course going to be Cavi's team that we haven't taken place in the brackets yet because they weren't kind of confirmed into either. They don't have to do the whole qualification event since they were the number 7 seed, but they do have to play one series to make sure that they, just to give like both teams an extra chance, make sure it's a bit more competitive and we have more chances to get into our main event. And that will of course be played against Snake Eyes. Since they did lose, they do get one more opportunity to get into this main event tomorrow. But of course it's up against an even harder team than the one they just faced. So, well, according to seeding. So we'll have to see how they can perform against that. But yeah, this is kind of like that series was actually, I was really happy with that because that's exactly what we were talking about, right? Like even as these metas change, these teams, perhaps these compositions don't play into each other too often right now, and certainly in Legion. And the team was able to adapt. Snake Eyes, at the start they were spam peeling Fen. Or like in the first game they didn't really peel too much and they died quite quickly. The second game they stopped Fen doing anything, and then it was a long game but they still lost. And then in this final game they tried to put all their pressure onto the Feral Druid to kind of shut him down and stop him from reaching the Paladin. And the strategy was almost enough to work. Like they tried 3 different things, and maybe you have to wonder if they had like a best of 7, a best of 9, like a few more practice games against this team, maybe they would find something that would work. So
Yeah,
it's definitely really cool to see.
absolutely. And as you said, as the series went on, I feel like they were just doing a better job every game, at giving them opportunities to actually win the game. Maybe I know that's one of the things the patch just recently, or the hotfix recently hit. So sometimes the strategies are not up to par yet, and you kind of have to know what to do against specific comps. Especially Ebola, which is the DK and the Feral Dude, isn't really a much popular comp. Honestly, I haven't fought it at all, I think, in the last couple of weeks, and especially in the last couple of days. I don't think I fought it at all. It seems to be pretty strong. So I'm curious to see how it will do against some of the bigger and most popular comps that we'll see tomorrow. So that should be pretty interesting. And but as you said, yeah, it's the games actually lasted very long for it being like 2 Holy Paladins, so very cleavy based. We didn't know that, of course, Holy Paladins have a lot of CDs to counter the damage. The 2 buffs, the 2 sacks, 2 freedoms, 2 horses are really useful tool against these cleave comps, and you can kind of survive a while. But both Holy Paladins did a good job rotating them and making sure that they can survive long enough for their team to have an edge. This time. Where's their name? 1 second. Sorry, Legion Submarine. Legion Submarine was able to come on top, but it could have shifted differently. Who knows? The games were getting pretty close, but one team got the edge over the other one, and as you said, they're going to be moving on to tomorrow's tournament.
Yep, for sure. So congratulations to them. We're looking at one more series for today, guys, which is of course going to be Snake Eyes playing against, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce Cavi's team name. It's Thuringa Klube or something? Klose? Something like this. Anyways, we have to see what composition they come out with. We are ready to get into this game. It's going to be, of course, the blind pick on the Grand Arena to kick us off here today. This will be our final series of the qualification event. The winner of this team will make the final spot in tomorrow's 8-team bracket. And there's just going to be one best of 5 to decide that. So of course the loser will be completely eliminated, and we're actually going to go into a perfect mirror. So what a perfect way to decide who's going to get this final spot.
Ooh, this could be interesting. Not only because, first of all, it's a mirror, but more because when you find a mirror, there's always that ego kind of effect going on, and you kind of you want to be the better class. You want to be the better as the other class you're fighting, of course. So it's gonna come down to a few things. One thing I can see right now is Cavi's actually playing Relentless. Brunswick's him playing the Trinket. I'm not sure if there's other talent choices. I'm sure there's probably a few others that might be slightly different, but as you said, it's gonna be a perfect mirror, so we'll see who comes out on top between... Oh yeah, that's a pretty hard name. I'll try it after.
Yeah, let's not try it before the game. I think it's going to take quite a while to perfect that one. Just to summarize who the players are, of course, we have Sunaki on the Windwalker and Mayline on the Death Knight, and it looks like they're going to immediately grip in Brunswick's, but they're not actually going to go for him. The main target of choice is going to be just cleaving down, but Taco Fiesta is definitely taking the brunt of the damage. There is the incap. He has to trinket and sacrifice immediately. So much damage coming out, but at the same time, the Blessing of Protection having to be used onto Sunaki. Both these teams exchanging blows. Fierce gameplay coming out, and both these teams do not want to lose this first game on Nagran.
Absolutely. Taco Fiesta had to use so many cooldowns, overlap with the stack, you have to use his Corpse Shield on top of that, but the pressure is still on. DR stun onto Cavi. Sonic on the pressure. He does have a touch of Karma. Casting the Chi Burst gets locked out. Good job by Taco Fiesta interrupting that Chi Burst, and now the pressure is on Taco Fiesta, who has no more CDs. As we said, the Corpse Shield, the Icebound have been overlapped a bit on top of the sacrifice from Brunswick's. Melee Wings is fading now on both Holy Paladins. HPs are going to start dropping. Both teams just fist of fearing each other over and over again. Brunswick's Trinketing that stun, trying to get away into an incap. DR leg sweep, a lot of pressure from Suniki. On top of that, it looks like the main target of choice is going to be Taco Fiesta, whereas the other team is going for Suniki.
Yeah, for sure. But it looks like really the benefit is going in favor of Cavi's team right now. They do get the grip onto him, but no stun to follow it up. So unfortunate. The incap also breaks on him. So that's a huge setback for Snake Eyes. They really needed to get some more pressure out of that. They do get the double stuns to the DPS now, though. So there's a bit of damage coming out, but there's the Aura Mastery cast from Cavi. He's going to be able to top off Suniki just a little bit for now. And Brunsix is falling so far behind. Like you say, he doesn't have the wings. The triple stun coming out of Suniki, getting a lot of damage. They might be able to force the bubble here. They do force it from Brunsix, and so much pressure coming out of Suniki and Mayline. They still have the touch of Karma. They still have the Hand of Sacrifices on Cavi. It looks like they're just really far ahead in this one right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Suniki dropping low. Probably has to use a touch of Karma right now. He's going to be using it. He's going to make sure he doesn't get bopped off, because that could be scary too. Marvis now deciding to hold his touch of Karma, also, being at 20%. And Cavi's team dropping fairly low now. The artifact from Cavi might top his team back off, though. The big hot coming off. Triple leg sweep onto Taco Fiesta, Marvis, and Brunswick. The bop's going to be used, but is it going to be enough? He used a Dark Sim. I think he was trying to steal a bop there. A bit too late, unfortunately, by Mayline. The touch of Karma now used from Marvis on Suniki, and they're kind of going almost in equal coolings, but Cavi still had the bubble available.
Yeah, for sure, but he still does have that bubble, like you say. He has the Hand of Sacrifice as well, so he can bail anyone out. There is the second Hand of Sacrifice onto Taco Fiesta from Brunsix. He really is starting to feel the pressure here. He gets caught up in the stun on his Aura Heal. He is able to get it off, and his wings are now back. Wings, in fact, back for both Paladins right now. So both of these guys should be able to stabilize their teams a little bit. Mayline taking a lot of damage, though. Cavi able to get out of that stun. Looks like he's going to be able to stabilize his team for now with that wings. But both these teams really struggling. Cavi still having the bubble, though. You have to feel like this is something that's giving him a small edge in this matchup, but he's really struggling to top his team off right now.
Absolutely. Can he top off Suniki now? He has a touch of Karma in 20 seconds. That is how long they need to survive to stay in this game. Brunswick's running dangerously out of mana, but he's totally out of bops. He has a sack left, I believe, but out of that, he has no bubble, no sack. So one more swap onto Brunswick's could be in the Edovan when we have the cooldowns coming back from the team of Kavix. So we see here Brunswick is running away on his mounts, trying to get away. The full Hodge onto Kavix, almost stolen up by Mayline. Mayline's been doing a good job with these Dark Sims, almost stealing a lot of cooldowns. Looks like pressure is onto Mayline now, drowned to 30%. Let's see if he has a Corpse Shield still available. I believe he does, so he should be fine. Triple leg sweep once again by Suniki, should be stabilizing his team.
Yeah, they're doing such a great job of doing that death grip into the triple stun time and time again. Both these teams, in fact, doing such a great job. And look at the mana. Mayline dropping so low, but Brunsix is They just need to survive a little bit longer. They still have that Hand of Sacrifice on Kavi. You have to feel like there is the Hand of Sacrifice, in fact, used onto Mayline there. Suniki does have his Touch of Karma. In fact, he did just use it there as well. So they're really starting to run out of cooldowns here. Kavi doesn't. He looks like he does have another Hand of Sacrifice available, but that will be their last kind of barrier. Brunsix is though. He gets caught up again into the grip stun from the Death Knight. Nice play from Mayline. They try and reverse the play and do it onto Kavi as well, but there's just so much pressure on Snake Eyes. They're down to 3% mana. It doesn't look like he has anything left in the tank. Soniki, though, they're trying to turn it around one last time. Fist of Fury defensively coming out. Taco Fiesta also dropping low down to 20%. This really could go either way at this point. Neither Paladin has their wings up just yet. They should be coming up very, very soon, but Taco Fiesta is dropping so low down to 10%, able to get the huge heal coming out from Brunsix with that wings just in time to keep his team alive.
Wings just in time, and Bronzing Zoom, can he top his team? He actually does not have single mana. He might just be only able to cast one Holy Light. Suniki is in trouble though. Does Kavi have anything to save him? The end of the wings should be enough. Touch of Death on Suniki. Touch of Death might actually finish Suniki off. Let's see if Kavi has any options available for him. There's the freedom. Gonna help Suniki to kite a little bit, but Bronzing has been for the last minutes or so. He's still managing to keep his team alive somehow, and it's really gonna come down to who does like the most amount of damage in these last few seconds of the game. Double Fist of Fury once again on both melees of the team of Snake Eyes. Kavi popping the artifacts on himself, but Mayline is dropping dangerously low. Once again, he's Tiger Fiesta. He's dropping so low, has no corpse shield available. 8% HP. Is he gonna fall? Looks like no for now.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Brunsix is really struggling. He doesn't have any mana left. You can see he gets the Aura Mastery heal, the Touch of Karma coming out from Marvis. I can't believe he's still keeping Snake Eyes alive right now. How are they still in this game? The Touch of Karma is going to last long, but it's about to expire onto Marvis. They could easily take him down. Taco Fiesta, of course, down to 10% as well. They're trying to get the Hodge. Brunsix pushing him, but he gets hodged on his push. He does now get it onto Kavi, exchanging that human ratio for that, but Taco Fiesta has just been so low this entire time. I can't believe they haven't killed him yet. How is he still alive? Using the Corpse Shield now, it's going to expire though, down to 10%. Surely he's going to fall. I cannot believe this. Trying to kite away desperately with the Wraith Walk, but he does finally
He's gonna go down with a Touch of Karma, just coming back from Suniki. But wow, what an explosive game. And Kavi had the mana advantage for so long, and still it came down to basically them both ooming at the end. So yeah, as you said, it was kind of crazy how Brunswick was able to keep his team alive, even though being for the last minute and a half or so. And the damage, now looking at the damage, has been more or less pretty even. Suniki doing a bit more than Marvis, but honestly, the game has been really, really close, and it seemed like the team of Kavix was having the advantage in the first few minutes, and then they kind of shifted towards the end of the game, and we also hit 10% dampening at the end, so an explosive, nonetheless very cleavy game that the team of Kavix is going to come out on top and win this first matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I was really surprised by how that game went. I was expecting it to be kind of more like how it works in how it was working in Worlds of Draenor, where both teams would kind of try and get these grip swabs onto the Paladin and just kind of chase them a little bit. But I guess the additional Divine Steeds coming out from these Paladins makes that a little bit harder to do. Both the teams just trying to cleave each other down, and that was the most unbelievable thing for me, right? It's like Brunsix was for about 2 minutes in that game at the end, and it just felt like it was almost like the other team stopped doing damage, like they just couldn't hit anything. It was quite insane how they were able to recover that and almost convert it into a victory, but unfortunately it's just, yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. It's going to be game one of the series in favor of Kavi and his team, and what was a very close mirror matchup though, so definitely this series could go either way. It should be a very exciting one, but I'm so surprised how these cleave games go. We've seen a lot of cleaves in this qualifier event, and every single game just seems to go on for the good 5 minutes or so. Like, why do you think it is that these games are going on so long?
I think I would say because both teams are actually doing a really good job at rotating cooldowns. There's been a few overlaps at the beginning of the game. Notably, I think there was a sacrifice on top of a corpse shield, things like that. But for the rest of the game, cooldowns were actually being rotated quite well. I would say there wasn't too many overlaps, and both TKs and Windwalkers are individually really tanky. They have a lot of cooldowns they can rotate through, especially with the Holy Pally. So I feel like if teams kind of rotate DCDs well, they can actually survive for a long time. I think that's what happened. Came down to mana. I want to say almost like it wasn't really because of cooldowns. I feel like if the whole Pallies had more mana, they could eventually keep their teams alive. But it really came down to mana. So yeah, both these teams are really tanky, despite the amount of damage they can output. That's the crazy part. It's like both teams can actually do so much damage, but still, Paladins are able to out heal it on both sides and able to mitigate it with rotating cooldowns. So that was kind of cool to see. It's going to really kind of come down to who does the most damage and who saves his cooldowns better. I want to say defensively and offensively.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be really exciting to see how that does play out over these next few games. It is 1-0 in favor of this team name. Do you want to try pronounce it? Because I don't think I'm going to try again.
So I think it probably goes something like Suringa Klöse, I would say.
Oh, that's
how
so
you...
good. That was amazing. You sounded very German or very Austrian.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what it means. Thüringer Klöße. So maybe if someone in chat can enlighten us, feel free. I do speak a bit of German, but I don't understand what that means. It could be. I actually have no idea. I actually don't know what any of these words mean. So
yeah,
if anybody knows, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, I think we did a quick test just to make sure it wasn't anything that we didn't want on broadcast. But other than that, it's open to interpretation, to say the least.
All right.
Yeah, we'll get into the game now, and it's going to be Mayline actually running in immediately on Brunsix. He's going to get blinded for his efforts, though, so maybe not necessarily the best opener, but they do force that 2-minute cooldown. He actually uses the human trinket as well. He's trying to kite away desperately with the horse. A very different opener coming out of Kavi's team, or in this opener. They're able to force the artifact as well, so Brunsix having to trade out a lot of cooldowns, and really nothing forced in retaliation from Snake Eyes so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Both Paladins holding off on their wings for now. Let's see for a long time. Fiesta had to use AMS on top of the Icebound. Corp shall not use just yet. Pressure is on to Brunsix. He's just trying to steal something. Once again, Mayline's been doing a good job trying to steal some buffs or something. Didn't get anything. The pressure is on. Wings have been popped from both Holy Paladins and should be able to top each other off slowly, but a lot of pressure onto Marvis right now. The Touch of Death is, of course, available. We'll see which team decides to use a cooldown before. A lot of cooldowns being popped both offensively and defensively on both teams, but we'll see who can actually top who off. It looks like the pressure's on to Kavix right now. Got triple DR stun on his big heal. Now is able to get away, and the pressure's on to Malon again, who's stuck in the stun, has to Icebound. Is he gonna be holding that corpse shield off for a little bit? Looks like yes. Should be able to get topped by Cavi for a while, but the wings are fading. He's in trouble. Might have to. Cavi actually gets locked. Malon might be in trouble. Kavix down to 30% here. Might have to bubble. He's proven the freedom. He has to deal with another kick. Gets done, and that's surely gonna be the bubble. Malon, on the other hand, is dropping very low. So much pressure from Snake Eyes.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely getting a lot of cooldowns out. That's the first time they forced Bubble in this series. In fact, Kavi didn't have to use it the entirety of the last game, but he's now getting reconnected onto by Marvis. He has to cut away there. He gets caught up into the stun. Bit of damage, having to Trinket and the Hand of Sacrifice coming out of Brunsix, able to keep his team alive for now. He still has that Bubble, so he should be okay. We see Sunaki is chasing after him right now, trying to get that pressure. He's able to juke the kick, though. The Incap not unable to interrupt that heal. Mayline now taking a lot of damage. Are they going to be able to connect the Hand of Sacrifice? It does come out from Kavi. Snake Eyes just look like a completely different team in this game. They have so much pressure, completely dominating Mayline now. He's trying to get some counter pressure. He grips in Marvis. The Blessing Protection comes out. They're able to get it off. Is he going to be able to survive here? Brunsix is getting chased down by Sunaki. He's down to 20%. They have the bubble, but I think he stole it. Mayline.
Yeah, he stole it for the first time. Mayline finally paying off. Can Brunsix top Marvis off? Touch of Karma is coming in 4 seconds. Sunaki still has his. A great steal by Mayline. Finally, once again, it paid off. He's trying to steal so many clutch spells. He finally gets the bubble. Brunsix now on the pressure. Actually had to bubble previously on. He's stuck in a full stun. Pressure is onto him. Touch of Death onto Mayline right now. He does have the AMS. Should mitigate some of the damage on top of the sack from Kavi. Should be fine. Brunsix has his wings coming back off, so he should be able to get away and top himself back up slowly. And they kind of reset cooldowns more or less. I mean, they don't have bubbles, but the wings are up. Actually, Kavi decided to hold his wings for now. Good choice choice by him since his team is fine. Brunswick's wins are going to fade off, and I feel like once dues are going to fade, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of being turned around. Snake Eyes now definitely falling behind in this one. Cavi is just sitting so pretty at the back of the map. He is now connected onto by Taco Fiesta, but he even has to use the grip early. So that means Cavi's going to be able to kite away with that freedom. At the same time, double stun comes out onto Brunswick. He has to trade out his Blessing Protection. Still gets kicked through that by Mayline. Mayline generating so much pressure at this point. Suniki also going to be able to reconnect as soon as that Blessing Protection falls. He gets caught up in the hamstrings, though. He's able to connect now, though. Brunswick doesn't really have anything left. No wings available for over 1 minute. Cavi has his available right now, so they can really push in here. They get the full asphyxiate. This could easily be the game. Brunswick's going to fall down here.
DR Hodge from Cavi, a great Hodge, but can he survive? The Freedom is popping 10% HP. Can he somehow get away? He pops the Divine Favor. The Hodge, the Dispel, is trying to cleanse the diseases off. He's at 2% health. Not going to be enough. No Divine Favor available. Cannot get not a chance that he gets it cast off without that. And the pressure from Tourney has been way stronger this game. I feel like they were putting way more pressure on the opposing team, despite the fact that Kavix had to bubble first. It really came down to, I would say, cooldown management to the mid-game and gave the edge to Kavix's team. As you see, the damage is, once again, fairly the same, except this game actually Suniki did less damage than Marvis. Interestingly enough, that was the opposite last game. They were still able to win that game despite doing slightly less damage. So I would definitely say it comes down to how these Holy Paladins also rotate their CDs.
Yeah, it was really interesting in this game because Cavi had to use Coins in a completely different manner to how he did last game. Like, both the Paladins last game were kind of exchanging their wings at the same time to kind of bounce off each other's offensive pressure, but Cavi was the one who kind of, it looked like he came out behind. He had to use his sacks early, had to use a bop early, even had to bubble for himself. So Snake Eyes had such a great start to this game, but the damage really coming out in the end from Mayline and Suniki was enough to kind of turn the pressure, and in the end Brunswick just couldn't keep up. He did fall. So that's going to be 2-0 in favor of Cavi's team. Again, I'm not going to pronounce the name because I think it would be a horrible disaster if I tried to do so. But it's incredible how that game was able to be turned around so efficiently from the team. And now, of course, because of that, they're one game away from elimination. Snake Eyes, who came into the qualifier event as the #1 seed, they've been really struggling in these Cleave matchups. They've been doing a phenomenal job surviving, but it just seems so hard for them to finish it in the final moments of some of these games.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a few differences in talents that could maybe play a difference. Notably, I know that Mayline is trying to play for the Dark Sim, trying to steal some buffs, maybe some freedoms or anything. Even the bubble we saw that game, he was trying very, very hard the first game too to steal something. He was very close every time to either steal a buff or a bubble or an important spell. Whereas Taco Fiesta is playing the more like defensive choice, which is the anti-magic zone. Other than that, I don't know if there's too many talent differences. I know Kavix is playing Relentless. Probably I think it could be a good choice with the amount of CC that there is between stuns, Fist of Furies, DR stuns. But other than that, it's pretty even. So yeah, it's just a matter of who can come off on top, who has the better cooldown rotation, also the best burst setups overall, and looks like the team of Kavix came out on top once again. So we'll see what they decide to do in the last game here, potentially last game.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like you say, this could be potentially the final game of the day, in fact, because we just had the couple of series for our qualification event today. Of course, this is all building up to our massive main event tomorrow. It's going to have all the prize pool, all the big names, all the BlizzCon competitors, etc. that we're used to seeing here on GCD TV, and these teams are battling it out for those final spots. Dalaran Sewers is going to be potentially the final map of the series, but yeah, when we look on to tomorrow, we're going to see all these kind of big names coming in. We're going to have a fantastic couple of days, I'm sure, with the slightly more series. We're just kind of building up into it with our qualifier event today. As we can see, it's looking very good for Cavi's team right now to secure that final spot, 2-0 up in this series right now. They've actually decided to swap their composition, so they've brought out the Survival Hunter instead of their Windwalker Monk. What do you think of this choice?
I'm not sure whether they decided to change comps. I think they're just maybe just to kind of play it for fun in the last game. Maybe they think they have an edge and they just want to test out if the actual Hunter DK has an edge. And it might, honestly. It's going to be interesting to see. Survival is really strong in general because it's the caltrops, constant slows. It also has a lot of damage burst potential on top of the CC. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Windwalker is better than the Hunter in this specific matchup.
Yeah, for sure. So we have to see. The game's going to open up immediately. The grip stun coming out from Snake Eyes. So they're going to get the momentum at the start of this one. Cavi using his human ratio, kiting away from their tackle. Fiesta taking a lot of damage. Full trap onto Brunsix. Of course, that Survival Hunter brings a lot of CC to the composition, but he also takes a lot of damage. Cavi able to use the big heal with his wings, his Avenging Wrath, able to stabilize Naruto for now. But Taco Fiesta is taking so much damage. Hand of Sacrifice has to come out from Brunsix. He has his Aura Mastery available, but so many people taking damage on his team. He's really struggling to keep them up. The wings is up for him right now. Able to kite away behind that pillar.
Yeah, it looks like Naruto, actually, the Hunter is doing a good job at he has that 30% dodge almost constantly on, and that's why he's actually mitigating a lot of the damage. On top of the freedoms, he's able to kind of just kite them away slowly, and but I'm not sure if Cavi's can tell me now. Actually, a nice blind on Cavi's string. It might force the acceleration from Naruto. It's going to be popped. On the other hand, Taco Fiesta Marv is taking a lot of AoE damage. Sack is used by Cavi, should be able to top Naruto off very, very shortly with the artifact. Full trap onto Brunsix. Taco Fiesta gets bopped right before, should be fine and survive that CC chain.
Yeah, for sure, but they're definitely wearing through the cooldowns on Snake Eyes. There's the Hodge as well. They're swapping it up over onto Brunsix. He does have his bubble available though, so he should be able to trade that one out should he need to. Naruto pushing in. He's getting caught up in the double stuns. This Windwalker Monk is definitely doing a good job of getting the peels, but at the same time, Brunsix is struggling so much with the damage. Like you say, there's just so much damage coming out of the Survival Hunter, and they have the CC, the traps as well, to put him even further behind. He's able to kite away right now and top himself off, but the AMS is going to fall on Taco Fiesta. He's going to need some help in the near future. Mayline doing so much damage at this point.
Yeah, nice trap. He's then going to decide to trigger that immediately. I think a good choice by him. The triple cattle chop's just doing so much work. Look at the HP of all the team, all the members of Snake Eyes. Pressures onto Naruto, but I think Cavi has a few CDs to save him. He still has the deter. He has a second sack coming off. The members of Snake Eyes are all slowly dying. Touch of Karma used. Bop used. I think it may have gotten stolen by Mayline. I'm not sure if he actually got it once again this time. I think he did and put it onto Naruto, so great job by him. Bronzix probably has to bubble right here. He's in deep trouble trying to go for the fake, didn't get it, but Marvis is dropping very low. Also probably going to go down very shortly. Brunsix has nothing left in the tank for him.
Yeah, that was such a risky play from Brunsix as well, just deciding to bop that instead of bubble, so he's not going to have the bop available for his team, and that's going to be the game. Eventually the Windwalker Monk Marvis is going to fall in this one, and actually the comp swap did seem to favour Cavi's team. It was a great idea from them. The Survival Hunter with the cow traps doing so much work, they were really able to avoid a lot more damage, and also the trap just put Brunsix so far behind on the healing, and you can just see it in the damage meters there. So much damage coming out of this Survival Hunter.
Yeah, absolutely. Survival Hunter is just relentless. Even after the changes, the small nerfs to Survival Hunters, they're still able to do so much pressure. That Caltrop just keeping a constant slow and constant damage pressure on top of the other tools that he has. And one of the main thing that makes, I think, Survival Hunters like really strong is the 30% dodge talent. Against double melee, it's just so strong. It was basically almost up. I think it's called cat-like reflexes, and it basically just every time he gets hit, I think he has a 30% chance to dodge or put a dodge buff on him for a few seconds, and that's what we saw almost all game up. So it really reduced the pressure of the opposing team, and that's why they were able to come up on top. And as we said, yeah, Kavic's team is gonna be coming on top and gonna be winning that series. So great job by them. It was really interesting that they actually swapped comp in the last game too. It gave us a bit of a different overview, but nonetheless coming up on top.
Yep, and that's the nerfed Survival Hunter as well, so imagine what it was like before. That was phenomenal play coming out from them there in that game. So let's just have a little look over to the brackets for tomorrow. Of course, we're going to be moving on to our main event. We will see Cavi's team and Legion Submarine will be populating the last two spots. So Legion Submarine will be replacing the 8th seed, playing against ABC, and Cavi's team will be going up against Northern Gaming Blue tomorrow. So some incredible games lined up for there. We'll see lots of players that we've seen multiple times in these events. It should be some fantastic games. Any kind of favorites you've got for tomorrow, Zinni?
Honestly, no, I'm pretty. I'm always pretty subjective when it comes to these kind of things, or non-subjective rather. I just want to see the best team win, or the most, the team that puts the most effort in. So we were talking about a bit about it earlier, and it's gonna come down to who adapted, I would say, more to these recent changes. Who has, we don't exactly know for sure what is the strongest comps or what the strongest classes are. Even though there are some hints at what is strong right now. So it's going to be interesting to see who learns the most and anticipates. And prepares, of course, for tomorrow and see who can come up on top. So it's going to be definitely cool to see.
Yep, for sure. And then just a couple more things to say before we disappear for today, guys. We have, of course, our Matcherino page, which we'll link one more time. Definitely be sure, since you have been tuning in, you will have been earning points towards this raffle down here for the Armored Bloodwing mount, so definitely be checking that out and signing up for that. Just to get a free mount, $25 value. You have a good chance at it. The more you watch, the higher your chance will be. You can buy multiple tickets into this raffle. And also, we would very much appreciate it if you would go to the donate and type in the code GCDTV1. Of course, all this money will go towards the prize pool, and that will donate $1 without charging you anything. Beyond that, I think all there is to say is we're looking forward to tomorrow. We have some fantastic teams. We also have some additional casters joining us tomorrow. I think we're also going to have Super Tees, and we should also have Sidu for a part of tomorrow as well. So definitely going to be some fantastic people joining us to bring these games to you. Should be some really hyped up games tomorrow for our main event. Of course, we have our 8 teams now, so really looking forward to that. And any final comments, Sunny?
Yeah, no, thanks for watching, guys. It's been pretty fun. Check us out tomorrow for more crazy and intense gameplay. Hopefully, if you want to see any of the teams participating, as you said, you can check out the brackets. And yeah, other than that, we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully, we'll have some great games with various new comps that we haven't seen before. Hopefully, and should be fun.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time for our main event.
Peace.